It is so good to see the patio full with tables, everybody eating dinner, like our usual Kabbalat Shabbat community dinners, enjoying Rabbi's daughter. I want to wish a special welcome to David Friedman, who is a celebrity member. Last year joined us from Palm Springs, became a member. This is his first time being in Adat Shalom in real life. And he's joining us for a year of commuting as well. And I want to welcome David, special welcome. He'd always give us the weather during class. And I have to tell you, the weather report from Palm Springs is not such an exciting thing. It's pretty predictable. I want to welcome Becky, who's sitting in the prospective member section, I guess, in the way back there, who's enjoying the service tonight. And is there anybody else to welcome tonight who's here for the first time or enjoying? Terrific. All right. Well, I don't know if everybody knows, but I've been away for the last few days. I've been in Scottsdale with my family at the resort where we normally go to hide right before school starts and right before the high holidays are upon us, and all the pressure is on our family of getting back into that routine. And I have to tell you that even though I'm not at morning minyan on Monday, right? Monday we were driving down to Scottsdale. We were in the car at 6 o'clock in the morning. But on Tuesday I wake up just like normal. It takes me a long time to adjust to vacation. So I'm up at 5:30 in the morning and I'm davening by 6:30 on the patio. And it is very strange for people at the resort to walk by our patio and see somebody standing in talis and tefillin at 6:30 in the morning davening on the patio there. And as the days go by, I begin to adjust and, of course, am able to force myself to sleep a little bit later and rest. So my davening becomes later and later, so more and more people see me davening, and then I see more of what goes on in the hotel in my talis and tefillin. And I have to tell you that for years I've been thinking of how to tell this story, and I'm inspired to tell it right now, but it was 2 years ago, actually. During the few days that we were there, each and every morning I would wake up and I'd put on talis and tefillin and stand out there and daven. And the later it gets in Arizona, the hotter that it gets, the more unbearable it is to daven outside. But I would watch this employee of the hotel who would come every morning and try to plaster this wall, the side of one of the casitas in the hotel that had a very large crack in the wall and had this kind of web of small cracks striating from that large crack. And every morning, this engineer would begin by fixing all of these small cracks on the side, these webs. And so by the second or third morning, I said to him, why do you fix only the tiny little rivers, if you understand the image, but not the main stream, not the main crack? And he said to me, well, you see, that would take a lot more time and effort, and I'm not supposed to be doing it while people are out walking around in the middle of the day, and so in the limited amount of time, I can only fix the little stuff. And I have to tell you that it struck me then, and it strikes me now, that for most of us who pay attention during the month of Elul to any kind of personal growth, to repentance, to tshuva, to the idea of self-improvement, what we do is we fix the little cracks that are easiest to fix. Because to get into the largest cracks, we don't want to do those things in front of other people. We don't have the time or the effort that it would take. Now, I don't want to get into playing a psychologist on TV, especially in the presence of trained psychologists. But Maimonides in Hilchot Teshuvah anticipates the same exact issue in the Mishnah Torah. You have to remember Maimonides in the 11th century, he was only the head physician to the chief of state in Egypt, and by the age of 33, he had written a canon of Jewish law that would be foundational until today, called the Mishnah Torah, of the 14 volumes of Jewish law, taking the entire Talmud and distilling it into just the rules, translating it from Aramaic into basic Hebrew by 33. What have you done with your life? Makes me think about it all the time. And he begins the second chapter by asking a very simple question in the laws of Teshuvah, Hilchot Teshuvah. He asks, Ezohi Teshuvah Gemora. What does it look like to have a complete Teshuvah? All of us can do the little cracks, but what would it look like if a person did all of it? Now the answer is, I think, interesting, right? It means that a person confronts the same situation in which they've sinned before, but they know not to commit that same sin, not to, as he would explain, you come to the same intersection and you know not to take the wrong turn. Not out of fear of consequence, not out of fear, and not out of lack of strength, but out of a conviction to making the right turn. And what I found interesting about this was this question waits until the second chapter. Meaning to say, there's a whole chapter of how to do teshuvah for the common person who's going to pick up the laws of teshuvah, because Maimonides, he can't waste the first chapter because he thinks that it's our instinct to not go deep into a complete teshuvah. Our instinct is to try to reach out to the people that we've done wrong to during the year. What comes to mind at first, those are the things that he deals with in the first chapter. Day one, you remember something from a few months ago. How do you call that person up and say you're sorry? But by chapter 2, he's asking for us to look deep inside of ourselves. Not to say sorry to that person, but to say, I get to that intersection all the time when I'm with my family, or when I'm with these friends, or when I'm with that group of people at work. Why is it that I always react in the same way? And the reason I wanted to bring it up this year was because this year I showed up and the casita was fixed. I looked at that wall and the deep crack was gone. Which means that somebody over COVID in Arizona had the time and the effort to fix it. Maybe, just maybe, we also have the time and the conviction this Elul to fix the deepest cracks, or to at least acknowledge them this month in a way in which we haven't before. Later we'll recite Achat Sha'alti, Psalm 27, of one thing I ask. I think if you read Maimonides' Laws of Teshuvah, Hilchot Teshuvah, the one thing to ask in order to get to chapter 2 is, what is it that I can fix about myself before I go around telling everybody else what they can fix about them? And that's not the order of fixing that we like to do, but it's the order of fixing that we most often need to do. Shabbat Shalom. Happy month of Elul, everybody.